Good afternoon, Thriving Therapist. How are you guys? It's so great to see everybody. I am back here every week at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific for our Thursday Thriving Therapist Facebook Live. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about money mindset. So this is coming up a lot lately. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about this on our page and talking about their struggle with sort of defining what they want their income to be this year and how they want to achieve that. And I've been doing a little bit of thinking around this topic lately because over in Elevate, which is our membership group for the Thriving Therapist community, we did an entire Zoom coaching call recently about money mindset. And I told a little story that I want to share with you guys today. And I had to think carefully about where did my own money mindset come from and where did it begin for me? When I was about 8 years old, it was 1982, I'm dating myself now, and the Commodore 64 had just hit the market. So if you are in your 40s or older, you might remember the Commodore 64, which was essentially just a keyboard that you would attach to your TV, and that was a computer. So that was something that my sister and I really wanted, but my mom said, if you guys want that, you're going to have to work hard and raise the money for it because it's not something in our budget that we can afford. So my sister, who was 5 years older than me, and I decided that we were going to raise the money to buy a Commodore 64, and we went outside into our driveway, which was actually full of little rocks. It was like a little rock stone driveway, and we saw those rocks, and we had this great image in our mind that we were somehow going to paint these rocks and sell them, that people would want to buy the painted rocks, and we would have sold enough of these painted rocks that we would have about $600, which at the time felt like a ton of money to us. We were very young, and we were selling something totally not worth $600 in value. But we hustled hard for that. We sold painted rocks to our mailman. We sold them to our neighbors. We sold them to anyone that would buy them from us at family parties and gatherings. Our relatives were buying painted rocks from us, and we worked really hard to purchase the Commodore 64, and we actually did it, and we got it connected to our TV, and we had our first computer. So if you are like me, you'll be able to think back to the beginning of the origin of your money mindset. And when I thought back to that story as I was preparing for this little coaching call, I was thinking carefully about where that started for me and how it has contributed to the way that I operate and how I work as an entrepreneur right now. So I was not afraid to try to make the money that I needed, even at a really young age. If there was something that I wanted to purchase, I was not afraid of the challenge of trying to find out a creative solution to making the money I needed to make that purchase happen or to make that financial goal happen. So I'm not of the mindset where I'm thinking, oh, I can't do that. I'm of the mindset that's more of the abundant mindset where it's like, I can do it, I just have to figure out how. So how many of you here can relate to that? Do you feel like you are in a scarcity money mindset in general, or are you in an abundant mindset? So meaning, like, do you think as you're building your thriving practice that you are setting some financial goals for yourself, and you're able to do that by achieving that financial goal by staying in that abundant mindset? Or are you thinking to yourself, oh, I can't do this, or I won't be able to afford that, or I won't be able to create that, or I won't have enough clients, or I won't be able to build a practice, or I won't be able to sustain this? So when you're coming from a place of a scarcity mindset, it really does start to decrease and decline our ability to live in that abundant place. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention today to ask you to think carefully about, go back into your own family history. Go back to your family of origin story. What was your original money mindset sort of story, like I just shared mine, in terms of trying to hustle and, sell painted rocks to anyone that would buy them so that we could actually make that purchase happen? Or what was your family of origin money story? So what kind of messaging did you pick up when you were a child around finances and wealth and abundance or scarcity or struggle? And how does that live with you today? And does that need some attention? Because it doesn't mean anything other than let's get curious about it. Let's take a closer look at that and see what we can do to maybe shift that so that it will suit kind of our desire to live in a way where we can be abundant and we can thrive as therapists. We have so much education, we have so much knowledge and training behind us that I really want to encourage you to remember that. I hear so many people, especially with a social work background. I have a social work background, and I hear a lot of people with a social work degree sort of selling themselves short sometimes and thinking, well, I guess that's all I'm going to be able to do, or that's all I can make. And what I really want to do is encourage you to remember that there's always room to grow there, and that if you're living in an abundant mindset, you won't feel like you're at a disadvantage for being able to break through your own glass ceiling. So think carefully about your own money mindset, where your money mindset came from, what's your family of origin story around that, and what are your beliefs about what you can and cannot do. I also like to encourage you to remember that you have the power to do things afraid. I love that phrase. You can do things afraid. You can start to do things before you actually feel ready. So that's something I want to remind you guys too, is there were lots of things I did in the last 12 months that I did not feel ready for, but I kept moving myself forward and learning as I went. And over the course of a year, that has really grown. So, for example, I started this Thriving Therapist Facebook community, and it was started with no people back in December 2019, and now we have 9,000 people in this community. I built an online course for this community because I could hear that you guys were asking for that, and I launched that several times throughout the year. I've done some coaching with a lot of the therapists on this community and this page. I created a membership for this group, and I had no idea when I started out that I was going to be able to do all those things. During the pandemic, I also managed my own practice and built a group practice. And those are things that I didn't know how to build a group practice, but I learned, and I just kept moving forward. I did it afraid. I showed up even though I wasn't certain. So the money mindset piece and the showing up courageous while you're doing things afraid before you feel 100% ready is also important. We've got a comment here from Latoya Washington saying, yes, social worker here. Yay, social worker. I've been in a scarcity mindset because I left my full-time job ahead of the schedule I'd planned, but I'm working on embracing a money mindset. I've always been a hustler and struggling with overworking. So that's also the balance point. Yes, great point. We don't want to hustle ourselves to the point where we are exhausted or depleted, or we end up resenting the people we're trying to support and love and care for, whether that's our family or our clients, helping our clients and support our clients. We don't want to end up resenting the people that we're trying to help because we're overextending ourselves. So there is kind of a fine line, but that's actually one of the things that we're talking about a lot in our Elevate membership, is how to scale so that you don't have to necessarily increase the hours that you're working, but you can increase your income by increasing the scale. So you're serving a larger audience. Like, for example, you might learn how to build a workshop or build a group, like do group therapy. So you're serving more clients in less time, and you're able to make more money out of those efforts. So there's a lot to learn in terms of elevating our income and elevating in terms of who we can serve in our communities and being able to scale our practice and scale our business. So thank you for that comment. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm always reading your comments. I'm always reading your messages. I'm loving this community, and I'm happy to support you. And I just wanted to hop in here today to help you kind of reset your money mindset. So if you find yourself leaning towards scarcity, just observe and notice, no judgment, but just notice what's happening there, and then slowly see if you can inch your way over to living in abundance, where making money feels easy to you, where it feels like you're doing things you enjoy doing and you're showing up to serve your community in a larger way. All right, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to pop them in here. If you're catching it on the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments and I'll pop back in and answer your questions. All right, have a great evening, you guys, and I'll see you next week. Take good care.